Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitrvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Astoma Satgamya तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय ॐ सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ॐ शान्ति 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 Let's open Yog Darshan Granth. It's a small scripture, but ocean of knowledge in there. So towards the end of the second chapter, that's where we are. And in this verse number 52, Rishi Patanjali is telling us the benefit of pranayama. And in very simple terms, he says, Tataha kshiyate prakash avarnam. So as a result of the pranayama, okay, the veil over the inner light is destroyed. And what is the inner light? We all are inner light. That is the Atma, the soul, the self, whatever name we want to give. That is the light. But it's covered. Okay, it's covered with ignorance, agyanta. So Rishi Patanjali is making a really beautiful promise to us that if we do pranayam, and he has been teaching us how to do this pranayam too, several ways, but ultimately we have to do it. Nobody else can do it for us. Okay? So benefit of pranayam, which will destroy the veil that covers the inner light. Okay, it's a mental darkness which is covering it. It's almost like a pulling the threads one by one until that cover is not there at all. So our mind is a veil woven of thoughts. Actually, it has no substance by itself. And if we pull the thoughts out one after the other, when they have all been removed, there is no mind left. It's almost like a heap of sugar. If we remove each grain of sugar, one after the other, where is the heap? In fact, they say that even the name heap is absurd. It's only sugar. So there's no mind. It's only the thoughts. And thoughts are removed with the powerful technique of pranayama. We all know that our basis is the self, the soul. But as long as we identify ourselves with our thoughts, which is the mind or the body, we feel that we are mortal. We are limited. So the technique of pranayama indirectly helps us to understand the oneness, the never-changing one, because it removes the veil. And where do we go after that? He says in verse number 53, Dharanasu cha yogyata manasaha. Dharanasu means for concentration. Because after pranayam, in that Ashtanga Yoga, ladder of Ashtanga Yoga, comes dharana. You remember? Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. Dharana for concentration. But there is a, before dharana, there is another thing which he is going to talk about. But right now, in this verse, he is just only telling us that you become capable of doing dharana. But before dharana comes what? Pratyahar also. So he's going to talk about that in the next verse. So dharanasu for concentration, cha means and, yogyata. Yogyata means you're qualified. So qualification. So it's almost like for higher studies, we need to pass certain exams, certain grades, certain tests. So this is what this yogyata is. You become fit. Manasaha, mind. So that means the mind becomes fit for concentration. After what? After pranayama. So your mind is fit to concentrate. So this prakash avarna is removed. And you might say that it's that darkness is not completely removed, but it definitely, the density gets reduced with pranayama. And that's how it becomes more and more capable of practicing dharana, the concentration. So pranayama is not only an instrument to steady the mind, it's also a gateway to concentration. So that's why it's called the yoga, the soul of yoga, the pranayama. We can see the implication here very clear that a practitioner who had to struggle initially to cultivate a yogic way of life by the yam and the niyams, the discipline, now finds his efforts transformed into a natural zeal to practice the sadhana. In the morning, when you get up and automatically you are doing your neti and the vaman and the pranayam and the asanas, that means you are a student now. You are not a yogi, but you are definitely a student. It's almost like a kindergartner going to school, enthusiastic, carrying the school bag, water bottle, getting dressed up, getting ready. This is what this pranayam and these cleansings, they do for us. They make us fit, enthusiasm to go further. Now in verse number 54, he talks about the pratyahar, the next limb. Sa swavishe asamproge chit savrup anukar iv indriya nam pratyahara. So this is a definition of pratyahara, verse number 54. Swa means one's own, swa. See, just like a swaroop, one's form. So swa, one's own. Vishe, object. Asamprayoge, lack of union or disunite or withdrawal. Chit is the deeper part of mind. Savaroop, one's own form, like essential nature. Anukar means appearance, imitate, anukar. Iv means just as, like, if. Indriya nam of the senses, pratyahar, withdrawal from every direction, or it can call it abstraction, pratyahar. So it goes to the focal point. So when the senses withdraw themselves from the objects and imitate, as it were, the nature of the chit, this is pratyahar. So with pranayam, the mind is not completely fit yet. Because there are things that will try to pull the mind into many different ways. How? With the senses. So mind goes out with the force of the senses. So we must have a good rein over these turbulent senses. In Bhagavad Gita, we learned that the battle with the senses, in a very esoteric way, is like a battlefield. The battlefield in the world, the turbulent life, which distracts us. We saw how Arjun got confused by it. And he goes to Lord Krishna. He says, "You are my guru. You help me. I feel helpless." He said, "I have a limited capacity. I doubt if I can win the war by myself. Please take the reins and drive my chariot for me. Let me be behind you, and I will do whatever you want me to do." Towards the end, he says that. And when Lord Krishna becomes the charioteer, Arjun becomes more steadfast and calm. The chariot's horses, and in our own body, those horses are our eyes, our nose, tongue, ears, and sense of a feeling. These are called panchendriya, 5 sensory organs. When we offer these organs to the Lord's services, then we are surrendering. When they are engaged in that manner and they are controlled, they will always take the mind inward. Otherwise, the senses take the mind outwardly. So when the mind is withdrawn from the sense objects, the sense organs also withdraw themselves from the respective objects. And that's what this vishay really means, the objects. And then he says, Chit Savrup Anukaraha. They will imitate the mind. So if the senses are allowed to see outside, they will try to grasp the pictures of the outside world. If they are turned inward, they will see the purity of the mind. They won't take the color from outside. Senses are like a mirror. Turn outward, they reflect the outside. Turn inward, they reflect the pure light. So by themselves, the senses are innocent, but when allowed to turn outside, they attract everything and transfer those messages to the mind. And that's how our mind becomes restless. Turned inward, they find peace by taking the form of the mind itself. The senses are, in effect, a gateway that allows externals to come into the mind. They are like inlets. It's almost like if we see a tree, only then we can understand the tree, because mind has taken the form of the tree. This is called the law of perception. That's why when we concentrate on something holy, the mind takes that form. That's why we see the beautiful forms in the temples. When the mind retains it, we get those pictures even in our dreams too. So when we have a sense control, we only allow the mind to take the forms we want. That's where the control should be. We should not carelessly look at the things, touch the things, listen to the things. We got to be very careful about it. In a Hindu system, the senses are made to engage in spiritual pursuits. That's why in the temple, we have colorful things everywhere. My own Gurudev Ji used to say that in our own homes, the most beautiful place should be our temple, so that our eyes are drawn to it. Through the eyes, our mind is drawn to it. It's almost like a feast to the eyes. When we burn the incense, the nose is centered to it. When we eat the prasad, our tongue is satisfied. With the chantings, our ears get amused. So there's a whole display given to us in our temples. Because you are seeing and eating and hearing and smelling in the name of God. So everything, every word, every image reminds us of God. And we are also grateful to Him for all these things. We never complain which prasad is given to us. We see the blessings of God in it. That's how the life becomes. So pratyahar is another way of controlling the mind. So pranayam was to clean the mind, pratyahar is to control the mind. To gain the mastery in it is not easy. We should not delude ourselves into thinking that we have gained mastery after even a few years of practice. We got to stay alert, vigilant. Any minute there can be a slip. Out of these 5 horses, even one horse slips, the others will get affected by it. We got to be extremely careful as a practitioner. All 5 horses. To achieve the full value of yoga sadhana, we must stick to all these precautions and we got to qualify ourselves. With all this, all we are doing is being qualified. We are not yogis yet. We are fit to become a yogi. Bhagavad Gita says yoga is not for the person who eats a lot or for one who starves. Yoga is not for the person who sleeps too much or for one who always keeps awake. Moderation, yatha yukta. Another simple term our Gurudev Ji used to use, yog anukul jivan. We got to live in this world. People say that we got to live, but live as a yoga student, abhyasi. We should not go to extremes. We should have limitations if we want to progress on this path. And what happens with the pratyahar? And don't forget the previous ones also, yam niyams also, asana also, pranayam also. So it's like they all go together. He is just keep on building more and more abhyas for us. So from this pratyahar, he says, tataha paramaha vashyet indriya nam. Tatah means from that. That means from pratyahar. Okay? Or tatah also means then. Param. Param means the highest, supreme. Vashyat. Vashyate means mastery, victory, control. So Param Vashyata means the supreme mastery, supreme victory. Over what? Over Indriyana, senses. We always want to control others. Learn to control your own senses. The real trouble comes from these senses of ours. So that's why Rishi Patanjali is telling us, then follows supreme mastery over the senses. Highest level of mastery over the senses with pratyahar. But we got to learn to do the proper practice. Only then our senses will come in full control under us. They almost become obedient horses. They can take you anywhere you want to go. That's how obedient they are. You become a complete master over them. Often people think that if I just control my senses, how will I enjoy life? People who have not seen the real enjoyment will talk like that. So as yoga practitioner, we should not think that we lose anything by enjoying or avoiding sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures or the happiness from them or the bliss from them, if you want to call it, is very limited. Very limited. What Rishi Patanjali is promising us over here is the unlimited happiness, unlimited bliss by controlling these senses. If our senses try to pull us somewhere, we should feel that, no, I'm not going to satisfy you. We should stop them, just like we stop a horse if a horse is taking us towards the wrong direction. You may feel a little tension at first, but that tension is only momentary. After that, you will really feel proud. You will feel that I have gained something, some level of mastery over my own senses. So in other words, if we satisfy the senses, we might feel momentary pleasure, followed by a greater dejection afterwards. But the happiness we can receive by mastery over the senses will last longer than temporary joys. That's why there is a difference between a sukh and anand. In Sanskrit language, we have different terms for different kinds of happiness. We should all become masters. We are all capable of becoming masters. And that is the true freedom, that is the true victory. And this is what Rishi Patanjali is talking about in this verse. If you are free from your own mind and senses, nothing can bind you. Only then you are really free. Even this outer leadership, name and fame can never bind you then. You're not afraid of anything. And this is not a birthright of just a few people. This is available to all of us. That's why we need to build up our mastery, never allowing the mind to fall back. Do not let it become weak. If we have the control, we can do whatever we want, find peace and joy within, and share the same joy to others also. Ultimately, that's what yogis do. That's what Lord Krishna did. That's what all the gurus do. They share it with others. They show the path to others. So this is the end of the second chapter. The third chapter is called Vibhuti Pad. Vibhuti means the powers, accomplishments, siddhis, or supernatural powers also. It's almost like if somebody is eating right, exercising, keeping the body clean, sure, body will be healthy, body will be strong. Lot more powers we feel with the mind, because mind is a lot subtler than the body. Subtler the thing, more pervasive it is. So strong body versus strong mind, clean body versus clean mind. And if you have both of them, you can see that what kind of a powers you will have. So these powers begin to come with the practice of these final three limbs of Raj Yoga: Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. And that is the topic in this chapter. So first he'll talk about Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, then after that the powers also. He will also tell us, be aware of these powers. So you are not becoming a yogi, you are not on the path of yoga to cultivate these powers. They can be the cause of your downfall if you get attached to them. So he will warn us beautifully. But let's look at the very first verse of this third chapter. Desh bandh chittasya dharna. Okay, so very beautiful, concise definition of dharna. So if you go back again, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, then comes dharna. Okay, don't forget the others, please. Because it's like a chain. If something is broken from the chain, all the beads will fall. Desh means place. Bandh means binding, fixed. Chitasya, it's like a deeper part of the mind. Dharna is the concentration. So dharna is the binding of the mind to one place, object or idea actually. So place really does not mean the physical place. It could be any idea, any kind of an object. So when the chit, and chit is the sum total of the mind, not just a little small portion of mind, but the total of the mind, is bound by one thing or bound in one place, it is called dharana, concentration. So in other words, in dharana, you are training the mind. Or you can call it a beginning of the meditation. So concentration is the beginning of meditation, and meditation is the culmination of concentration, you can say. They are more or less inseparable. Normally, we see our mind running here and there. When we try to fix it on one thing, within a fraction of a second, it has already gone somewhere else. And often where we don't want it to go because it's not in our control. That's why we got to have concrete objects, symbols, idols in the beginning. They are very, very helpful. And do not keep on switching between the objects. It's a good idea to keep the same object. You are making it easy for the mind to grasp something abstract through the help of that visual image. If it's an idea on which you wish to concentrate, at least have something physical to remind yourself. of that. While you look at this object, think of the idea connected with it. This is where the yogis, they brought the practice of tratak or gazing. They said it's very handy. So eyes, they get cleansed also, plus mind gets in control. So after a while, you can gently close the eyes, try to bring a mental picture of your object of concentration. Even though it's outside, but bring it inside you with your eyes closed. It might come for a while, then you lose it. Again, you can open your eyes, look at that, and close your eyes. That means you are developing that impression in your mind. You need practice. It is almost like a photography. You take a picture, it's there on the film. Or these days we see it in our phones also. Take a picture, it's right there. As you think, so you become. Even when we do our prayers in our puja rooms, this is what we are supposed to do. Physically, you are doing puja, but then try to bring the whole picture in your mind. Hands are doing the puja, mouth is chanting the mantras, but the mind should have a picture of your deity or your guru right in there. And all this is part of dharana. Because mind will fluctuate. The mind is like that. But it does not matter. Just know the nature of the mind. There's no point in getting frustrated. Sometimes we just want to quickly have a control over our mind. We don't know how many lifetimes we did not try to control this mind. See, this body, we can say that sure, it's a few decades old, but mind has been traveling with this Atma for countless lifetimes. And if we did not try to control it, all of a sudden you try to control it, mind rebels. So that's why there's no point in getting frustrated, and do not give up. Never think that I am unfit for meditation. That is the biggest mistake many people make. Because they think that the minute they sit and close their eyes, everything should be beautiful. They should see their light. And if the mind runs here and there, they say meditation is not my thing. They just give up. But a serious student does not do that. They persevere, they keep on trying. And they remember that Sutra number 14 from the first chapter. C.2 Dhira Kal Satikara Sevita Dridha Bhumi. If you remember that, practice becomes firmly grounded when you will attend to it for a long time without break and with all earnestness. Long time. And we learned that long time means until you succeed. That is a long time. For one person, long time could be just a few minutes because they have done their homework in the past. Another person, it could be several months, several years, or could be several lives. But we have to start from somewhere. We should not give up. So this very practice is called concentration. Mind is running, you bring it back. It's running again, you bring it back. You are taming a very wild horse or a monkey. Once it's tamed, it will just listen to you. You will be able to say, okay, sit here quietly, and it will. At that point, you are meditating. Until then, you are training yourself to meditate. So, in other words, training your mind to meditate is called dharana, training. Everything we do in this secular world also require training. Even in walking, talking, listening, reading, writing, everything took training. So why not this too? So training the mind is called concentration. Let's look at one more verse. Verse number 2. Tatra pratyahe ektanata dhyanam. Tatra means therein. It really means over here after the concentration, after the dharana, pratyay. Pratyay means the thoughts, that's a pratyay. The belief, experience, ideas, that's all is pratyay. Or the flow, because thoughts are what? Flow, pratyay. Ektanataha. It's like a ekatanta means continuation or the quality of having the mind fixed on one object only. Ekatanta, ekatan. So it's like a one straight line. Dhyanam, meditation. So dhyan is the continuation or a continuous flow of cognition or the pratyay toward that object. So you have your Ishta Devata's image. Continuously you are just, your mind is attracted to it and absorbed into it. No more distractions. So in order to reach there, practice is needed. Hindu scriptures, they give a beautiful example of this continuous flow. They say it's like a pouring oil from one pot into another. It's a continuous string and it does not break. So the mind is fixed. There's a communication between the meditator and the object of meditation is steady. It's like that flow. That's what's called dhyan. Normally, what we are doing when we say we are meditating is dharana. Most of us, concentration. After a long practice of dharana, gradually the flow of cognition gets a little longer and it becomes dhyan. People often say that when will we know that we are really meditating? There are some signs for that. If you are sitting in a meditation for an hour and it feels like only 5 minutes, you are meditating. But when 5 minutes feel like an hour, you are just not meditating, you are concentrating. And that step is important too. Sitting down, making an effort. But when you are meditating, time has no meaning. In fact, the space also gets lost. You don't even know where you are. And if you break that meditation, all of a sudden, you may wonder what happened to my body. Because even the body is forgotten in the real meditation. You are above time and space. The mind transcends body. or the consciousness about the body. And there are other signs of meditation also. In the beginning, you will feel light. You might see some beautiful visions connected with the object of your meditation. Your chosen deity, you might see that there's a light coming out of the eyes, or the hand is touching you, blessing you. Those are not the imaginations. Those are the real powers of meditation. So beautiful light, or you may even hear beautiful sounds. You might see that you are flying up there, but your body is here. You hear some notes of the flute. So there could be many signs, but do not get attached to these signs. And do not imagine either. If it's happening, enjoy it, but do not imagine, because it should just happen. Because those are just signs that your meditation is working. We'll start with verse number 3 next week. Try to meditate every day. Fixed place, a fixed way. You will see that you will be attracted to that place. If you have a meditation corner or a room, just do it at the same place. The difference between dharana and dhyan is that in dharana, you are concerned with the elimination of a fluctuation or fluctuating thought waves. Because mind is going somewhere else, you are bringing it back. So you want to achieve a single pointed concentration. That's what you want when you are concentrating, single pointed concentration. And in dhyan, meditation, the emphasis is on the maintenance of a steady, profound, contemplative observation. Okay, so this is like a very basic difference between these two. So we'll start from here, verse number 3 next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for joining.